The man by the window. It was just past 6 in the morning when Keanu Reeves stepped through the wide automatic doors of the Los Angeles International Airport. The morning rush had already begun, and the usual swirl of noise and motion filled the place. Rolling suitcases, beeping carts, scattered announcements over the loudspeakers, and the occasional child crying. Keanu walked quietly, hoodie up, sunglasses on, head slightly bowed. He moved with grace, almost like a shadow slipping through the busy crowd. He had a flight to catch, a direct to Tokyo for a small indie film he had agreed to support. It wasn't a blockbuster, but he cared about the story. And he liked to keep his promises, but that morning, something about the energy in the airport felt off. Maybe it was the strange silence behind the noise. Maybe it was the way a few people seemed unusually tense. Keanu didn't dwell on it. He just kept moving, grateful for the calm that walking gave him. He carried nothing but a small black backpack slung over one shoulder. As he passed gate 14, something made him stop. He didn't know what it was at first. Maybe instinct, maybe fate, or maybe the way the man sitting by the window wasn't really sitting, more like sinking. His body hunched low, his head heavy in his hands, shoulders trembling in a way that could not be mistaken for cold. Keanu paused. He glanced at his watch. He still had time. But if he kept walking, he wouldn't. Still, he couldn't ignore it. He stepped closer. The man looked older, perhaps in his 70s. His jacket was frayed, his pants wrinkled and damp near the cuffs. Beside him was a small carry-on bag that looked far too empty. The man didn't notice Keanu standing there. Softly, Keanu asked, "Sir, are you okay?" The man startled and looked up. His eyes were bloodshot. Not from sleep, but from crying and pain. I missed my flight," the man whispered, barely forming the words. "My wife, she's in Chicago. The hospital called. She's not doing well." Keanu knelt down slowly so they were eye level. "Do you have another ticket?" he asked gently. The man shook his head. "They said it would cost too much to rebook. I already used everything I had on the last one. I didn't expect to be late. I got confused, wrong date. I've never flown alone before." Keanu's heart clenched. The man's hands trembled as he spoke, and he looked utterly alone. In a crowd of strangers, forgotten in the race of the day. People walked by. No one stopped. Everyone was busy. Everyone had somewhere to be. Keanu sat beside the man. "What's your name?" he asked. "Arthur," the man replied. Keanu didn't hesitate. He pulled out his phone and typed something quickly. "Arthur, we're going to get you on the next flight. I'll cover it." The man blinked. No, I can't let you do that. You don't even know me." Keanu smiled kindly. "You're right. But I know what it's like to lose someone. I know what it's like to feel helpless." Arthur's lips parted, and a few silent tears fell. "My wife's name is Linda," he said softly. "She always took care of the flights, of everything." Keanu nodded. "Then today I'll take care of it for both of you." 20 minutes later, Keanu was at the front counter of the airline, speaking with a staff member. The woman behind the desk was polite, but clearly stressed. "Sir, we have very limited seats. And that next flight to Chicago is boarding in 35 minutes. There's only one seat left." Keanu didn't blink. "That's perfect. It's for him." The woman nodded and began typing. Then she looked up again. "But sir, if you give him this ticket, you'll miss your flight to Tokyo. Your boarding gate is closing in 20 minutes. Keanu looked over at Arthur, who was still seated by the window, looking confused and lost, holding his hands tightly together. "I know," Keanu said. "Book his ticket." Arthur clutched the new boarding pass like it was made of gold. "Are you sure?" He kept asking. "You're missing your flight for me. I don't even know who you are." Keanu chuckled softly. "Just someone who had the time." He helped Arthur gather his things. They walked slowly to the boarding gate together. As they reached the door, Arthur turned to him and whispered, "How can I ever repay you?" Keanu looked at him with the calm sincerity only he could carry. "You already did. You reminded me what matters." And just like that, Arthur disappeared into the tunnel toward his plane. Keanu sat on a bench by the window, watching the runway. His own flight was long gone now. He was officially delayed, but in his chest, he felt none of the usual frustration that came with missed appointments. Instead, he felt still. He pulled out his phone, called the film team, and explained the situation. "You missed your flight for a stranger?" the director asked. "Yes," Keanu said plainly. There was a pause. Then the director replied, "We'll wait. That story is more important than the scene we were going to shoot." Keanu smiled, and just then, a soft voice interrupted his thoughts. "Excuse me," a woman said. "Are you Keanu Reeves?" He turned and saw a young flight attendant. She looked nervous, but her eyes were shining. "Yeah," he replied with a kind nod. I saw what you did for that man," she said. "I just wanted to say thank you. You didn't know anyone was watching, but I was, and I'll never forget it." Keanu didn't know what to say. Before he could respond, another airport staff member walked over and added, "We're going to try to rebook you. There might be one more seat later today. It's not first class, but—" Keanu interrupted with a warm grin. "Economy's just fine." What no one knew then was that a passenger had recorded part of Keanu's conversation with Arthur. By the next day, the video would go viral, spreading across social media like fire. Millions of people would share it. People would write messages saying they had cried, saying their faith in humanity had been restored. But for Keanu, none of that mattered, because while the world was busy reacting, he was sitting quietly in a corner of the airport, eating a small sandwich, waiting for the next flight, grateful that he missed the one before it. Because sometimes missing your flight means you arrive at something more important. The ripple goes viral. Next morning, the airport was quieter. Different passengers, different flights. Same long lines and tired faces. But tucked into the daily routine, something unusual was happening. A video was spreading. It had no title when it started. No dramatic music. Just a shaky recording taken from someone's phone near Gate 14. The video opened with Keanu Reeves sitting beside an elderly man, listening intently. His hands were folded. His head was low. The caption read, "He missed his own flight just to help this man get home to his wife." At first, a few hundred people shared it, then thousands. By the time Keanu had boarded his new flight that afternoon, the video had already crossed 2 million views. It was trending under the simple hashtag "Be kind like Keanu." Keanu didn't know. He was flying alone now, tucked into a middle seat near the back of the plane. No assistance, no fanfare. Just a bottle of water and a folded hoodie under his head. The flight was smooth, but his mind kept drifting back to Arthur. He wondered if he'd made it to the hospital in time. He wondered if Linda had opened her eyes. Then, just before landing, the flight attendant approached quietly. She held her phone in her hand, nervous to speak. "Sir," she said gently, "I think you should see this." Keanu took the phone. The moment he saw the video, his heart sank a little. He never did things to be seen. He hated attention for acts that should be normal. But now, there he was, blown up across screens worldwide. He watched the clip in silence. There was a long pause. Then he handed the phone back. "Thank you," he said softly. "But kindness should be private." The flight attendant smiled, but her voice was firm. "I agree. But sometimes the world needs to see what kindness looks like." By the time Keanu stepped off the plane, the world had already changed. Paparazzi waited at the arrivals gate, not because of a new film, but because of what he had done. Dozens of reporters crowded near the security rails, shouting questions. Keanu, why did you help him? Do you know the video has over 20 million views? Do you have a message for the world? Keanu stopped for a moment. He didn't shout. He didn't wave. He just said, everyone's rushing to be somewhere. But sometimes you get where you need to be by stopping. And then he walked away. ***. Meanwhile, in Chicago, Arthur stepped off the plane with a pounding heart. He didn't know where to go. He looked around the terminal like a lost child. Then he heard his name, Arthur. He turned and saw a young woman running toward him. It was his daughter, Claire. She had tears in her eyes. Dad. Oh my God, I thought you weren't going to make it. Arthur held her close. His hands shook. Is your mom? Claire nodded. She's still with us. She keeps asking for you. They rushed to the hospital. When Arthur entered the room, Linda's eyes opened just a sliver. You made it, she whispered. Arthur held her hand, and tears rolled down both their faces. You saved me, Linda said. I waited for you, Arthur nodded, voice breaking. No, someone else did. ***. Back in Los Angeles, something stranger was unfolding. A young man named Marcus, who worked in a nearby warehouse, saw the video and broke down in tears. He had once met Keanu years ago at a food truck. He remembered how polite and real the man had been. And now, seeing him do this, Marcus called his brother, who hadn't spoken to him in a year because of a small fight. He sent him the video and texted, I'm sorry. His brother replied 3 minutes later with, me too. ***. In a school classroom in Singapore, a teacher paused the day's lesson. She played the video in front of 20 students. After it ended, she simply asked, what does it mean to be kind? Every hand in the class went up. ***. In a war zone, a tired nurse watched the video on her lunch break and wept. In her message group with other medical workers, she wrote, this is why we keep going. ***. Keanu returned home and turned off his phone. He wasn't chasing comments or clout. He spent the evening alone, making a quiet dinner, simple rice and vegetables. He sat at his small wooden table, phone on silent, mind somewhere far away. But the world wasn't done with him. Calls came from networks, morning shows, invitations to awards. Even a suggestion from a senator to give him a National Medal of Compassion. Keanu declined them all. He wasn't looking to be praised. He just wanted people to remember Arthur, to remember Linda, to remember that someone somewhere always needs help, and sometimes all it takes is noticing. ***. But fate had other plans. The airport, where it all happened soon, organized a random Acts of Kindness Week inspired by him. A local airline pledged to donate tickets to people in emergency situations. Other airports followed. A journalist finally tracked down Arthur and asked him what happened that day. Arthur smiled and simply said, a stranger became my angel. ***. Keanu was walking out of a bookstore one afternoon, wearing a cap low over his eyes, when a young boy came running toward him. The boy had no camera, no autograph paper, just wide eyes and an open heart. He hugged Keanu suddenly and tightly. Thank you, the boy said. Keanu looked down, surprised. What for? The boy's mother walked up slowly. My son saw your video. He was being bullied in school. But after seeing what you did, he stood up for another boy yesterday. And now they're both friends. Keanu knelt down and smiled at the child. Then I should be thanking you, he whispered. ***. That night, as the sun sank low behind the city skyline, Keanu sat near his open window and stared at the light fading over the hills. He thought about all the flights people take every day, all the rushing, all the chasing. And how sometimes the most important journey you'll ever take is the one you didn't plan. ***. The phone call Keanu never expected. Rain was soft that morning in Los Angeles. Not a heavy downpour, just a gentle drizzle that made the streets glisten like silver threads. Keanu Reeves sat by the window in his modest home, sipping warm black tea. He liked quiet mornings like this. No traffic noise, no urgent texts, no cameras flashing in his face. His phone vibrated once on the wooden table. He ignored it at first. Then it vibrated again. Reluctantly, he picked it up and checked the screen. The name that flashed across it made his heart skip a beat. Sophia hadn't seen or heard from her in over 11 years. Her name looked unfamiliar and familiar at the same time. Like a melody he once loved but had stopped humming. His hands froze. Finally, he tapped the answer button. "Hello?" His voice was soft, almost unsure. There was silence for a moment. Then a breath. "Keanu, I saw what you did for that man at the airport." He closed his eyes. "Sophia," her voice trembled. "You haven't changed, not even a little," he chuckled faintly. "Most people change. They just do it quietly. But you made the whole world remember what love looks like." Keanu leaned back in his chair. "I didn't mean for it to be public." That's exactly why it mattered. They both went quiet. The silence between them wasn't awkward, it was full. Like an unopened letter sitting between two hearts that still hadn't said everything. Finally, Sophia spoke again. "My father. He passed last winter. He always said you were the only man he ever trusted me with." Keanu's chest tightened. "I'm sorry, he was a good man. He watched all your movies, even the ones where you barely spoke." He smiled. "He always did like the quiet ones." Then came the pause. "The kind that holds more than words ever can." "Keanu," she whispered, "can we meet?" That evening, Keanu drove to the little Italian cafe they used to visit in Westwood. It hadn't changed much. Same red umbrellas, same crooked sign above the door, same smell of garlic and fresh bread in the air. Sophia was already there, seated at a corner table, her back to the wall. She wore a long beige coat and a scarf, her dark hair tucked behind one ear. When she looked up and saw him, her eyes shimmered. He sat across from her, and for a moment, they didn't say anything. They just stared, two souls that had wandered far but never truly parted. "Do you remember what you told me the night we broke up?" she asked gently. Keanu nodded. "I said I was afraid." "Afraid of what?" "That I'd lose you if I kept going." She nodded slowly. "And now?" He looked into her eyes. "Now I'm afraid I lost you because I stopped." Tears welled up in her eyes, and she reached across the table to hold his hand. "You didn't lose me," she whispered. "I just waited for you to find your way back." Outside the cafe, someone recognized him. A young man with a camera paused, but instead of raising it, he lowered it. "Thank you for what you did," he said softly. "For that man, for all of us." Keanu nodded, and the young man walked away. Sophia smiled. "You've become a symbol. I never wanted to be. Maybe that's why you are." A few days later, Keanu received a letter in the mail. It had no return address. The envelope was plain, but inside was a note in careful handwriting. "Dear Keanu, my name is Grace. I'm a nurse at St. Mary's Hospital in Chicago. I was with Linda when she passed. She held her husband's hand the whole time. She kept whispering, 'He brought me my Arthur. I just wanted you to know. She didn't die alone. You gave her that. Thank you.'" Keanu held the letter for a long time. It felt like something holy, something sacred. He put it on his bookshelf beside a photo of his own mother. The media frenzy didn't stop. Offers kept pouring in, commercials, talk shows, even brands wanting to make him the face of compassion. Keanu refused them all. Instead, he quietly started a fund to help people who missed emergency flights. He called it Arthur's Seat. The idea was simple. Every month, the fund would purchase seats for people trying to reach loved ones in times of crisis. Within weeks, donations came flooding in. Not just from fans, but from people who had been there, who had missed their chance. who had wished for a stranger like Keanu to stop for them. Stories came with the donations. My dad passed away while I was stuck at a gate. I wish someone like you had helped me. I left my abusive husband in the middle of the night. I had no money for a flight. Thank you for thinking of people like me. My daughter needed surgery. We couldn't afford to fly. Now we can. Keanu read each one. He didn't just skim them, he read them. He remembered every name. He started replying with handwritten notes. Some days, he cried, but he never stopped reading. One night, Keanu and Sophia were walking through a quiet park in Santa Monica. The stars were out, and the ocean breeze was soft. Do you think we'll ever stop rushing? Sophia asked. Keanu looked up at the sky. Only when we realize that some of the most beautiful things happen when we're late. She laughed. You sound like a philosopher. Maybe, he said with a grin. Or maybe I'm just someone who missed a flight. As the world kept spinning. The video kept spreading. Schools showed it during assemblies. Churches played it during sermons. Airports printed posters with quotes from it. One day, Keanu received a letter from a teenager in Brazil who had tried to end his life, but stopped after watching the video. I didn't believe good people existed anymore, the letter said. But then I saw you, and it gave me hope. Keanu cried for a long time that day. Then he wrote back, you are not alone. Hold on, there's always someone waiting for you at the gate. In the end, it wasn't the missed flight that mattered. It was what came after. The moments that bloomed in the delay, the hearts that healed in the stillness. And the simple truth that kindness, even done in silence, echoes louder than fame ever could. The offer he didn't want days after Keanu's act of kindness had turned into something bigger than anyone could have predicted. Arthur's Seat, the fund he created to help strangers reach their loved ones in emergencies, had already helped over 80 families in less than a month. The stories that poured in were humbling. Lives were changing. Tears were shared. Kindness was spreading. But the attention didn't stop. Keanu had always tried to live a quiet life. He never cared much for cameras, red carpets, or endorsement deals. But now they were showing up at his gate, knocking at his door, calling his team with offers that made headlines. Keanu, Nike wants to run a campaign around walking in kindness. His agent said one morning, they're offering $7 million. Keanu stirred his coffee slowly. I don't wear Nike. You don't have to. Just show up for a photo shoot. No, his agent sighed. You're turning down another one? Yes, but Keanu, imagine what you could do with that money. Keanu looked up, eyes calm. I already know what I can do. And I'm doing it. The offers kept coming. A global bank wanted to launch a credit card named the Reeves card, promising to donate a portion of every swipe to his fund. A luxury airline offered lifetime first-class travel if he let them sponsor Arthur's Seat. Media Network asked for exclusive rights to a dramatized film version of the airport moment. Each time, Keanu replied with the same two words, not interested. His assistant Riley finally asked him one evening, why not just accept one? You could build this into something bigger. Keanu paused. You ever seen a flower grow through concrete? Riley blinked. Yeah? Did it need a brand to help it bloom? Riley smiled quietly. No, I guess not. Keanu nodded. I just want to keep things real. But real was getting harder to hold on to. That week, Arthur's daughter Claire called. Her voice was soft. Keanu, I don't know how to say this. He straightened in his chair. Is something wrong? Dad, he passed last night. Keanu's chest tightened. I'm so sorry. No, don't be. He passed in peace, and before he went, he asked me to thank you again. He said you gave him one last dance with Mom. They had just enough time. Keanu closed his eyes, remembering the old man's shaking hands. The way he had said Linda's name like a prayer. He also asked me to send you something. A package arrived 2 days later. Inside was a small framed photo of Arthur and Linda holding hands in the hospital bed. Taped to the back was a note. To Keanu, you missed a flight, but gave us a lifetime. With love, Arthur. Keanu placed it beside Grace's letter from the hospital nurse. He didn't say anything. He didn't have to. The weight of the movement began to grow heavier. He started receiving emails from people begging for help, not just flights, but hospital bills, legal trouble, depression, homelessness. Some wrote kind letters. Some wrote angry ones. Some accused him of picking favorites. Others demanded more. He stayed up nights trying to read every message, to write back, but there were too many. Riley told him, "You can't carry the world, Keanu." "I'm not trying to carry it," he whispered. "Just trying not to drop it." Then came the moment that changed everything. A child, 6 years old, diagnosed with leukemia. Her mother wrote in desperation, saying their flight was delayed, and they wouldn't make the specialist appointment in New York. Keanu acted immediately. He called the airline himself, explained the urgency, begged. But the flight was full. He offered his seat, but he wasn't on that flight. In a split-second decision, he booked a private jet with his own money. Flew the girl and her mother across the country in time. The girl made it. The mother posted about it anonymously, but the internet figured it out. It made headlines. Keanu Reeves books private plane for sick child, refuses to speak about it. And once again, more offers came, this time from politicians. A well-known senator invited Keanu to speak at a national event. Said he wanted to introduce legislation inspired by Arthur's seat. Said they'd name it after Keanu if he agreed. He declined. He didn't want his name on a bill. He just wanted kindness to be quiet. But silence can be dangerous. A group of internet trolls began spreading false rumors, accusing him of fabricating the airport story, claiming the video was staged, saying it was a marketing campaign in disguise. One influencer even posted a fake clip claiming Keanu's foundation was a scam. Keanu saw the video. And for the first time, it hurt. He didn't mind being misunderstood. He didn't care for fame or followers. But seeing something pure be twisted into something selfish, that hit a place deeper than words. He called Sophia that night. "I don't know if I can keep this going," he said. She was silent for a moment, then said, "Do you want to stop?" "No," he admitted, "but I feel like the more I do good, the more people try to tear it down. That's because it reminds them of what they're not doing," she said gently. He sighed. "I didn't sign up for all this." "You didn't," she agreed. "But the world signed up for you." The next morning, he went for a walk before sunrise. He wore his old hoodie and jeans. No one noticed him. At a small coffee stand near Venice Beach, a barista greeted him. "Hey," she said. "Your tea's on me. Why?" He asked. "Because one time you helped my cousin get home." "She was on one of those Arthur's seat flights." He blinked. "Really?" She nodded. "She was trying to reach her dad in Texas. She made it." He took the tea quietly. "Thank you." As he turned to leave, the barista said, "Some people wear masks. You just take yours off." And that's when he decided he wouldn't run from the noise anymore. But he wouldn't let it own him either. He sat down with Riley that afternoon and outlined a new plan. "We'll grow the fund," he said, "but we'll keep it simple. No partnerships. No big sponsors. Just people helping people." "How will we raise money?" Riley asked. "We tell real stories, not ones about me. Ones about them." And so they did. The Arthur's Seat website was redesigned. No celebrity pictures, no logos. Just one sentence at the top. "This isn't about who you are, it's about who you're rushing to see." Below it were faces. Stories. A mother reunited with her daughter. A son racing to say goodbye to his father. A soldier flying home to meet his newborn. Donations flowed. But so did hope. And in the middle of it all stood Keanu Reeves. Not on stage. Not in spotlights. Just somewhere near the gate, watching the world quietly board their flights. And finally, make it home. The letter from the little boy. Keanu Reeves had always believed in stillness, even before the fame, before the loss, before the world decided he was more than just an actor. Stillness helped him survive grief. Helped him stand quietly when chaos roared around him. But one soft afternoon, just as the sky turned gold outside his home, a single envelope shook that stillness to its core. It arrived without fanfare. No logo, no fancy print. Just his name handwritten in a child's shaky letters. To Keanu Reeves from Jonah, age 8. Keanu's hands paused for a long moment before opening it. Inside was a crumpled letter written in pencil. Dear Mr. Keanu, my name is Jonah. I am 8. My mommy showed me the video of you helping the old man at the airport. I cried because it reminded me of my dad. My dad died at the airport last year. He missed his flight. We were trying to get to Grandma. He said he didn't feel good, but everyone was too busy to help. I saw people walk past him. No one stopped. They said he was just tired. But he wasn't. He was dying. I wish you were there. Maybe he would still be here. Sometimes I hate airports now, but when I saw what you did, I felt happy again. Because someone did stop. Thank you for showing people how to be nice again. Love, JONAHP.S. I still keep his watch. It's broken, but it's mine. Keanu read it twice. Then again, he placed the letter on the table and leaned back in his chair, tears welling in his eyes. He had received thousands of letters since the video went viral. Some were beautiful, some heartbreaking. But this one went somewhere deeper. It reached the boy in him, the boy who once sat in a hospital waiting room, not knowing his father would never come back. The boy who learned too early that life didn't wait. Keanu didn't sleep. That night, he walked the halls of his home, sat on the floor, stared at the old photograph of his parents. He kept hidden in a drawer. The silence was heavier than usual. He kept hearing Jonah's words. I wish you were there. He whispered into the dark. I wish I was too. The next morning, he wrote back. Dear Jonah, thank you for your letter. It meant a lot to me. I am very sorry about your dad. I know that pain. When I was young, I lost someone too. Sometimes it feels like the world forgets to slow down, doesn't it? You are very brave to share your story with me. I think your dad would be proud that you kept his watch. Even if it's broken, it still tells a story. And that's more important than time. Next time you're at an airport, look for someone who needs help. Be the person your dad needed. And when you do that, you'll feel him with you. I believe in you, Jonah. With kindness. Keanu. He didn't post the letter. He delivered it himself. He found Jonah through the return address. A small town in Montana. Quiet streets, snow still fresh on rooftops. Keanu wore no disguise. Just a warm coat and a simple smile. When he knocked on the door, Jonah's mother answered, confused and pale. You're him, she whispered. Keanu nodded gently. I came to meet Jonah. She burst into tears. Jonah peeked out from behind her leg, wide-eyed and silent. Keanu knelt down slowly. Hi, Jonah. Jonah blinked. You came? Keanu smiled. You asked me to. Jonah looked down at his wrist and touched the broken watch. Then he ran into Keanu's arms and hugged him tight. They spent the day together. Keanu didn't talk about movies or money. He sat on the carpet and played board games. They built Legos. They drew pictures. Jonah told him stories about his dad, how he used to whistle when he made pancakes, how he carried Jonah on his shoulders at the zoo, how he promised they'd go to space together one day. Keanu listened to every word. He didn't interrupt. He just let the boy speak. Asterisk, asterisk, as the sun set, Jonah and his mother walked Keanu back to his rental car. Before leaving, Keanu placed a small box in Jonah's hand. What is it? Jonah asked. Open it when you feel brave, Keanu said softly. Jonah opened it. Right there. Inside was a new watch, simple, sturdy, just the right size. On the back, engraved, for Jonah, to keep time with your heart. Jonah looked up with wide eyes. I'll wear both, he said. Keanu smiled. That's perfect. Asterisk, asterisk. Back home, Keanu felt something shift inside him. He knew now that Arthur's seat wasn't just about flights. It was about second chances, about children finding healing. About strangers becoming family, and maybe about saving the part of himself that still longed to fix what couldn't be fixed. Asterisk, asterisk. That night, he sat by his window again. Outside, the city pulsed. Inside, he lit a single candle and placed it beside Jonah's letter. He whispered, "Thank you for helping me remember." And as the flame flickered, Keanu knew something he hadn't known before. Kindness doesn't just echo forward. It heals backwards too. Asterisk. The call that stopped the airport looked the same as it always had. Cold floors, buzzing screens, people dragging luggage while staring at their phones. Life was always moving, always rushing, always late for something. But for Keanu Reeves, this airport now felt different. He stood near gate 14 again, the place where it all began. Where he'd stopped for Arthur. Where one missed flight changed hundreds of lives. He had returned not for a flight this time, but for an interview. A journalist wanted to do a short piece about Arthur's seat. The idea was to meet at the same gate, sit down, and talk about how the world had reacted. But Keanu didn't care for headlines. He only agreed because the journalist had lost her sister while waiting for a delayed flight. She wanted the world to care about waiting, about time, about the people we miss. So Keanu stood quietly, watching the gate. The memories came back like warm wind. Arthur's trembling hands, Linda's soft voice, Jonah's hug, and then his phone rang. He hesitated, then answered. Keanu? A voice said softly. He recognized it instantly. Sophia. Hey, he said. I didn't want to tell you this on the phone, she said, but I'm here, at the airport. His eyebrows rose. You're here? I'm at the other end of Terminal 3. Why? She took a breath. Because I'm going somewhere. And I wanted to tell you in person. Asterisk, asterisk. Keanu walked fast, then slower as he saw her near the departure screen. She wore a long gray coat, her hair loose. Her eyes locked on him. Are you leaving? He asked. She nodded. Milan for work, a year. Maybe longer. His heart sank, though he didn't show it. I just thought, she continued, if anyone understood missing a flight, it'd be you. He smiled faintly. Maybe this one isn't meant to be missed. She stepped closer. I was wrong. Before, she whispered. About what? About waiting. I thought it was weak. But now I see it's brave. Waiting is love without a clock. Keanu's eyes softened. And missing something doesn't always mean losing it. They stood in silence for a long moment. Then the final boarding call echoed through the terminal. She leaned in. Promise me something, anything. If you ever have to choose again between where you're going and who's next to you, don't rush. He nodded. And then she was gone. Asterisk, asterisk. Keanu stood still, surrounded by noise, but quiet inside. His phone buzzed again. This time, it was a video message. He tapped play. A schoolteacher had recorded her class. Dozens of kids held signs that read, "Thank you for not walking past." One girl stepped forward and said, "We don't know you, but we know what you did. And we're going to do the same." Another kid added, "We started Arthur's Corner in our school. If anyone feels sad, they go there, and we sit with them." Keanu covered his mouth. He wasn't crying, but his eyes were full. Asterisk, asterisk. Then it happened. A voice over the airport speaker said, "Ladies and gentlemen, please take a moment to look around. If you see someone sitting alone, smile at them, say hello. You never know what they're going through." This message is brought to you by Arthur's Seat. For one breathless minute, the airport paused. People looked up. People looked around. A woman in tears hugged a stranger beside her. A man shared his sandwich with a teenager. A little boy handed his toy to a crying baby. A flight attendant turned off her mic and helped an elderly man walk to the restroom. It was like time slowed. Just long enough for kindness to catch up. Asterisk, asterisk. Keanu stood there, hand over his heart. A security guard nearby approached him. "You okay, sir?" Keanu nodded, just remembering something important. Asterisk, asterisk. That evening, he boarded his own flight. No cameras, no attention. Just another man with a boarding pass and a backpack. As the plane took off, he looked out the window. The clouds were glowing orange. And suddenly, he remembered something Arthur had once said, "You reminded me what matters." Now Keanu truly understood what that meant. It wasn't about one moment. Or one man. It was about what happens next. About how love keeps flying forward, even after we land. Asterisk, asterisk. 3 months later, Arthur's Seat was operating in 21 countries. People called it a miracle. Others called it a movement. Keanu called it a reminder, because sometimes the best parts of life come when we miss the flight we thought we needed. And in doing so, we arrive exactly where we're meant to be.